They fighting.
These were not out to babysit. The crowd eventually moved to a 7-Eleven off Roosevelt and Jefferson. Look how they ransacked the store, breaking windows and wreaked havoc. CPD made it clear.
If you're an officer, you should be putting hands on people and arresting them right now, not watching them walk by you.
This gutless mayor in Chicago gives his response to the recent outbreak in teen violence. Listen to this mess.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson opening up on everything from the migrant crisis to teen takeovers.
Since he took office in May, he hasn't fielded questions from reporters very often. Among
I wonder why.
those asking them today, CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov. And Dana, Mayor Johnson spent about an hour talking with the press.
Yeah, Jim and Marie, and the most recent incident of teenagers and young adults converging and overwhelming in one area of the city was a big topic of conversation. It just happened this past weekend, and in that instance, they caused a lot of damage. The mayor responded this way, though, when someone characterized it as mob action.
That's not appropriate. We're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Hold on a second, okay? Respectfully, these large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place.
This was the scene near Roosevelt and Canal Sunday night. Groups looted a convenience store. More than 36 teenagers were arrested, along with a 12-year-old and at least one 20-year-old. Store owners say it was the second such incident in that area in just the past few weeks. And today, Mayor Johnson commended Chicago police for the way they handled it.
So when you get a group of violent people together, acting out violently, destroying property, attacking people, physically attacking people, what else can you define that as? How is that not a mob? That clown, this dude, I'm telling you, with his little weak voice, and man, I'm telling you, I don't understand these cities. I don't understand the people of Chicago. Violence has decimated that city for decades. But yet somehow they think that they look at this dude. They thought that this guy was going to be the man to fix the problem. As soft and weak as he is, I don't see a man, honestly. I don't see a man. I see just a punk. I see somebody who should be mocked to some degree because he allows foolishness to go on in this city that needs hard, tough leadership, no nonsense leadership. But he got offended. He was more bothered by the fact that they called it a mob than what these kids did. He's the type that always tries to find an excuse for bad actions. Somebody like that needs to be removed, honestly. But once again, you can only be so sympathetic. Eventually get to the point to where you're like, these people get what they asked for. Because for some reason, they won't wake up and realize that what that city truly needs. People who can go in there and just change the dynamics. Because everything that has happened that they've tried over the past few decades has not worked.
To the best of their ability, I believe that they attempted to engage with our young people, with community partners, giving as much warning as they possibly could. And, unfortunately, arrests, were made, and unfortunately, some damage was caused. And the level of sensitivity and patience that our officers expressed, I'm appreciative of that.
Mayor Johnson says his administration continues to work with community groups, adding they've actually intercepted and prevented some of those large gatherings, meaning if they hadn't, the city would have seen more of them. But he didn't give any specific dates or times.
Well, if they did that, kudos to them. Good for them. However, just his language, just the way he breaks this down. Unfortunately, there was some damage was done, some violence. Man, stop, dude. Them little thugs need to be locked up.
Charges range from simple misdemeanors to felony gun charges. The youngest suspects, just 12 years old. We've learned tonight that some community activists saw this incident brewing and headed to the scene to try to stop it.
CBS 2's Jermont Terry is live at the scene with how it all played out last night. Jermont?
Joe and Erica, cars were damaged, windows were broken, and all of that happened before the teens even made their way to the 7-Eleven and started looting. Tonight, Chicago Police Interim Superintendent Fred Waller said this group crossed the line, leaving them no choice but to make an arrest. And tonight, 2 of the violence interrupters believe there would have been more arrested had they not stepped in.
So, man, they're making it really hard right now, y'all. So
This video shows the teens as they gathered along Roosevelt Road Sunday night. In the mix, trying to deter the youngsters, Joseph Williams.
if you know some of these kids, y'all come down here and get y'all kids. If you know some of them for sure, definitely come get them.
Williams is with the nonprofit Mr. Dad's Fathers Club.
It's important to have our program because it helps get fathers involved in their children's lives.
And that's why when word came the teens were preparing for another teen takeover,
And we didn't want to sit at home and not do anything about it.
so Williams, along with Charles McKenzie, tried convincing the teenagers to leave, but the task wasn't easy.
We were out here running, breaking up fights. They fighting.
Chicago police.
Man, with all them kids running around, you can't break all that up. 2 dudes. I'm hoping that there were more, but they're clearly outnumbered. The police are clearly outnumbered. He couldn't break that up. You need a lot of officers out there interacting with these kids, getting things handled. That's what you need.
Police were not out to babysit.
I say, hey, man, they not playing. They telling you guys to leave. They giving you a chance to leave. You guys have to leave.
The crowd eventually moved to a 7-Eleven off Roosevelt and Jefferson. Look how they ransacked the store, breaking windows and wreaked havoc. CPD made it clear.
If you're an officer, you should be putting hands on people and arresting them right now, not watching them walk by you.
It's sad that that even has to be said, that these officers had to be told that you shouldn't just be letting these kids walk by you when they're destroying all this property, all these vehicles, injuring people. You need to be making arrests. But at the same time, I can understand in a city like that, in an ultra liberal city like Chicago, with their priorities all kinds of out of whack, I can understand why an officer would be less likely to want to go hands-on with someone in fear of repercussions, in fear of them possibly losing their job. It's a tough situation. You know, on one end, they need to be out there doing their job, but when you don't get any support from your supervision, from the people around you, I can understand how they might be apprehensive in being proactive with their policing.
40.
That just shows that there will be some accountability in place. And I hope that it actually brings even more awareness for parents to make sure that they know where their children are.
Because McKenzie says parents did respond to the live feed.
I saw a father come out, told his daughters, hey, you guys supposed to be at the show. What you guys doing here? Get in the car.
These youth advocates.
You often hear people say these kids just need something to do, then this wouldn't happen. Well, based on what that one advocate said, these kids were supposed to be somewhere else, going to a movie or something like that. But yet they decided they wanted to go somewhere else and get involved in all the foolishness. I believe that that's not the issue. The issue is not the fact that these young people don't have anything to do. There's been so much money put across our nation into inner city programs for young people. But oftentimes they just don't want to do that. Their heart's in a different place. They want to be out there kicking it with their friends. They want to be out there doing things they ain't got no business doing, because the heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked, as Jeremiah 17:9 says. Who can know it? That's the issue at hand. Not having opportunity, it's not all about the fact that they don't have opportunities. I think opportunities are there. They just don't want to do them. I know growing up, there were times where there were so many other things I could have been doing, but sometimes I just got caught up in the crowd I was with. That was it. So instead of making excuses, they need the hammer dropped on them. That's what those kids need. Let me know what your thoughts are on this topic. But before you go, make sure you check out this video right here. I think you'll find it very informative.